How much would you love a workshop that taught you exactly how your favorite authors cast a spell over their readers? Listen up, today's video is about a super simple, free way for you to learn all the tricks from the pros. I'm Nicole Breit, award-winning essayist, creator of the Spark Your Story Lab, and co-host of Craft Talk Book Club, a podcast for writers. Today, I'm going to share how you can become a better writer by becoming a better reader, which is exactly what Mary Adkins, my co-host, and I talk about in Craft Talk Book Club. A bit of background. So in 2020, Mary approached me about her idea of starting a monthly online book club, live streamed, for writers who, like us, loved memoirs and novels and wanted to understand how they worked. What was it that the authors were doing that made these books so unforgettable? And what could we learn from them for our own craft so that we could become better writers? Deconstruction has been a tool that I have taught for as long as I've been teaching creative nonfiction. It's a tool that I love myself to try and figure out kind of the way someone might take apart a clock or something mechanical to figure out how it works by playing with the pieces and putting them back together. So the idea really appealed to me, and I saw the value in how we could help writers learn their craft by doing just that, reading stories, taking them apart, figuring out how they worked, and then learning. This is a super easy and fun way of learning just by reading for pleasure and paying attention to see what your favorite authors are doing in their books. This is a super easy, fun way. You're already reading for pleasure. Now you're just paying close attention to what an author is doing, why they made the choices they made in a story, and how you might be able to replicate it. So here are 4 steps for learning to write like your favorite authors. And this is going to work in any genre, poetry collections, anything that you want to read, fiction, novels, short stories, creative nonfiction, memoir, pick a favorite book. Okay, so step number 1 is to just pick a book off your shelf at the library, an author that you love that you want to learn from. And remember, it can be in any genre because the techniques used in poetry can translate to fiction, to creative nonfiction, to memoir, and vice versa. If you are interested in reading a novel, there are techniques that you are going to learn in that book that are craft tools that will translate to any writing that you do. Number 2 is to read for enjoyment, but also with curiosity, really paying attention to how you feel as you're reading the story. Where are those moments where your heart picks up its beat, or you really feel wowed by a turn or a twist? Pay attention to what the author is doing and how they are doing it. Number 3 is to think bigger about the story's structure and shape. What is it about the way the author has organized the book, outlined the book, how many sections, parts, chapters? What is the unifying principle holding this book together? And is there anything in the structure that you can borrow in your own work? Number 4 is to keep notes about the techniques that you would like to try. You can refer back to your notebook when you're feeling stuck or just want to try something different. You could create an author style cheat sheet, paying attention to the kinds of stylistic choices that an author tends to make, and then you can try replicating that just for fun to see what will happen in your own work. Now, I wanted to give you a couple of pro tips, and one is that it is really going to help you learn to become a better writer, to understand the craft tools and devices available to you. So brushing up on the different techniques and devices that authors use in their work is going to help you think about what's happening when you're reading a book that you love. It's going to help you identify the exact tools that they're using and then have really interesting discussions with other writers when you can discuss their use of symbolism or metaphor, poetic devices. All of the literary devices are your palette for painting a picture in a story and writing an unforgettable book. So know your craft tools. My next tip is to do this with a friend. It is really fun for me and Mary to get together after we've read a book and talk about what we see happening in those books. Usually we will have some agreement on what we love about a book and why we think something is working, a specific technique, what it is the author's intention might be, or what they're actually doing craft-wise. But sometimes we see different things or we miss things than the other writers. So having discussions with others about the books that you love is going to really enrich your reading experience, and it's going to help you appreciate what's happening craft-wise in the book more deeply. So I'd love to leave you just with an invitation to join me and Mary on our podcast. Tune in to Craft Talk Book Club. You'll see in the description below all of the places where you can tune in, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean. There are many ways to check us out. So I hope you'll join us for an upcoming episode, and happy writing.